guys, this is Vijay. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you have landed here for the very first time. So someone asked me to react to this geography now Philippines, and I was so intrigued by it, but finally I got the chance to do it. And it's kind of a long video, so have your water. Now it's really funny whenever I say drink your water, because I drank a lot while reacting to the live concert of SB19. Yeah, it's okay, but I have my water, so I hope you don't get dehydrated too. And let's just hop in. Let's learn geography now, Philippines. I have never been good at geography from the very beginning. Really, I was only good at history when, if you count social studies. I was only good at one thing, but let's learn. Play.
If you don't know anything about Asia, the Philippines is like the jolliest of them all. They're just
jolliest,
happy, fun, jolly people. And
you know what?
Okay.
It's been 3 years. I'm not taking this anymore. I've been
What?
pushed around. I've been threatened. I've been thrown in the dungeon. I've been
He's
the butt of all
Filipino?
the jokes. I'm the Filipino one. This is my time.
He's Filipino too? Okay. Okay, I love the edits. Okay.
Welcome to the Philippines.
Okay.
My turn.
Okay, your turn. Okay. Let's go.
To learn geography.
Now.
Geography
Hey everyone,
now.
I'm Ken, and as you know,
Ken,
I'm half
you know him.
Filipino. Years ago, I was looking for a job, and I saw
Ooh.
this ad asking for a motion graphics animator on Craigslist. Paul and I literally met up at a Jollibee for my interview. He said I was his top 3 candidates.
In reality, there
Wow.
were only 3 candidates that applied, so technically I didn't lie, but yeah, the other 2 people kind of sucked. So, yeah.
Oh, and back then, I had this weird mustache, and Paul's hair was basically this thing.
Ken and I have been talking for a long time, and we agreed Ken
Ooh.
definitely has to be in this episode. You've come so far from that Craigslist Jollibee interview, you've earned this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Magsimula.
They're nice.
The Philippines
They're
is
so
an
good.
interesting
Okay.
country because there's sort of a
Fine.
dichotomy
Let's go.
between labels. If you ask a Filipino if they consider themselves Asian or Pacific Islanders, you might get
Ooh.
contrasting answers.
What do you consider yourself?
Really?
I always thought Pacific Islanders sounded kind of cool, so
I
just
get
like
it.
that.
It sounded
So first
fancy.
of all, the
Sounds
Philippines
fancy.
is a tropical archipelago of
Philippines.
over 7,000 islands, about 2,000 of which are inhabited, and it is the largest island nation without any land borders or shared island territory with another nation.
The country is located in Southeast
Wow.
Asia, straddling the Philippine Sea in the north, the South China Sea in the west, and the Sulu and Celebes Sea in the south.
Just
Okay,
a simple way
wow.
lies the island of
It's time to
Borneo,
learn,
which is
okay.
split amongst
It's time
3
to learn.
nations, at the closest point only about 22 miles or 40 kilometers away from the nearest island that
Alright.
belongs to the Philippines.
Now, in general, many people will refer
Philippines.
to one of the 3 main island cluster regions
Oh.
that people are a part of. There are Luzon in the north, where you can find the capital Manila, and where
okay.
half of the population lives, Visaya
Okay.
in the center, and Mindanao in the south.
This-
Otherwise, the
Visaya.
nation is made up of 17 regions, one of which is
17 regions.
autonomous, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. This place has a high level of self-rule and autonomy appointed by the government. We'll explain more about this later.
If you want to be absolutely technical,
Okay,
Quezon
okay.
City, a bit north of Manila, is the largest city in the Philippines. However, the surrounding
Alright,
16
Manila.
towns and cities by Manila are
And
called
its
Manila
capital.
Metro, or the
Mm,
National
Manila
Capital
Metro.
Region, and they
National
basically
Capital
act as
Region.
one unit.
Otherwise, the largest city outside of the NCR are Davao City,
Davao.
Mindanao, and
Okay.
Cebu in the
Davao
Visayas.
Mission.
Manila has the
Cebu.
largest and busiest airport, Ninoy Aquino
coming soon.
International Airport, which is basically the hub that services the entire NCR. They also have the busiest shipping port at the Port of Manila.
Otherwise, the second largest airport is Cebu Mactan International, and rounding
Oh my
out
God,
the third
so
place
much
is
of
Davao
knowledge.
City, Francisco
Wait.
Bangoy International.
In
Okay.
terms of land transport,
So much knowledge.
the
I can't even,
Philippines
like,
is well
talk
connected
in
amongst
this.
the islands. In fact, the longest highway is the Pan-Philippine Highway that stretches about 3,500 kilometers across the country and connects Luzon, Samar, Liet, and Mindanao with underground tunnels connecting them.
Finally,
Okay,
the
oh my
Philippines
god.
has only 2 territorial disputes. The state of Sabah in Malaysia
Sabah.
on North Borneo. The
Malaysia.
territory once had been part of the Sultanate of Sulu.
I had a friend
a
named
state
Sabah.
that existed the 15th century to the 20th century, and that's a whole
Long
other
back
story.
when I
As
was
for the other
in
dispute,
school,
as we
high
mentioned
school.
quite a few times already, this whole area known as the Spratly Islands is a complete mess. If you don't know anything
Okay.
about this place, it basically goes like this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is the map showing what everyone claims in the area. This
China,
one right here is China.
Philippines,
Like,
Malaysia,
yeah, they just
Vietnam,
kinda pretty much went for one.
Brunei.
This has even led to a few skirmishes between nations that have built patrol stations on the island. And
Okay.
when they spot a ship that gets too close, things can get kind of ugly.
Kind of like this.
Hey, what are you doing? This is my area.
Just doing some fishing and research, you know?
Why do you have a shovel then? Are you building something? or-
Well, technically there's no land protruding from this reef, so there's no land claim
So you're just gonna build your own land.
for research.
Anyway,
Eraser.
here are some notable spots of interest.
I like them.
Santiago,
I like them.
Cross,
San Agustin Church,
I like
Sagada
that.
Hanging Coffins,
Aguinaldo Shrine,
Cebu's Philippine Taoist Temple,
Shrine of Mama
Cebu.
Mary and
Cebu.
Tagaytay,
the Lapu-Lapu Shrine,
Luneta Park.
Oh
MacArthur
yes,
Landing
that's where
Site,
Espionage
Maui
performed.
Rice
I'm sorry, I'm
Terrace,
talking too much about
Malacanang
Espionage,
Palace.
but
Vigan has
that's how I
many
know it.
historical and colonial buildings.
the various national museums of history and
Most of
arts.
them liar.
Tons of amusement parks.
I
And
need
that's
to
not
go
even
to
including all the natural
Philippines.
wonders of the Philippines. They have an underground river.
The most amazing, beautiful beaches in the universe.
Wow.
Hills that look like lumps of
Chocolate.
chocolate.
And there's an island in a lake, in an island, in a lake, in an island.
Wow.
We should hang out sometime.
Yeah, when you have
Really?
7,000 tropical islands on a volcanic archipelago,
Wow.
chances are things can get pretty crazy
Wow.
landscape-wise.
So
Which brings
beautiful. I
us
mean, the beach
to
was so pretty too. Physical
the
geography.
physical land of the Philippines is the biggest
Damn.
treasure you will
Also,
find.
they both are really handsome.
Anyway, the Philippines lies on the Ring of Fire and is specifically on the tectonic plate named after them, the
Oh,
Philippine Plate.
And about
tectonic
95%
plate.
of the land is made
Wait,
up
I
of
used to
the
study
11
about them.
largest islands.
The country was essentially formed through the tectonic activity between the
Oh.
Philippines, Manila, and the Mindanao Trench, the Mindanao being the second deepest in the world.
This makes the
Oh.
country susceptible to small earthquakes and minor volcanic activity.
About 53 active volcanoes can be found in all of these largest islands.
Oh my God.
except for Palawan. The most famous and picturesque of these include these three.
See this island here, Camiguin? It actually has more volcanoes than towns on it. 7 versus 5, making it the
Oh my
place
God,
with the
is
most
it
number of
safe to
volcanoes
live
per square
there?
kilometer in the world.
In fact, the tallest
I've
peak in the
never even
Philippines is a
seen-
potentially active volcano, Mount Apo,
Wow,
located in the
Mount
South Mindanao
Apo.
area.
The country has numerous
I wanna
mountain
so
ranges and
visit. I
highlands
so
that
wanna
dip into
visit.
the fertile valleys, the largest range being the Cordillera Range in the north Luzon area,
Cordillera-
looking into the Sierra Madre Range on the east
Cordillera-
side, which feeds the longest river of the
Cordillera.
country, the Cagayan, that flows into the
Canto.
Cagayan Valley.
This valley, along with the central Luzon
Wow,
Valley,
though.
is the largest arable
That's
crop
all I can
and produces
say.
nearly all of the rice in the Philippines.
Visayas are known
Ooh,
for
okay,
growing the most
rice.
sugarcane, whereas Mindanao
I love
specializes
sugarcane
in coconut
juice.
and fruit production.
Back in Luzon, though, you can find the largest lake in the country, Lake Laguna Dabay, which is actually in the caldera of a dormant volcano.
Larger.
The lake has a
Ooh,
weird
okay.
detached island called Talim and is actually drained by the Pasig River that flows through the capital, Manila.
And finally,
Wait.
the country is the heart of typhoon territory. They
Oh
can
my
come at
God, oh
almost
yes.
any time of the year. The nation will experience on average about 20 of the turbulent storms annually, which often flood
Stay
the neighboring river
safe.
systems.
Please,
But
stay safe.
yeah, if anything, Filipinos are the most cyclone-adapted people on Earth. They're used to it. The water has always been kind of their thing. Swimming,
Kind of
sailing,
the-
fishing.
Just not exactly quite diving into it.
Otherwise, the Philippines is one of the 17 mega diverse
Okay.
nations on Earth.
They actually
Wow.
have
Okay.
the largest
I would know
level
that a
of
little bit though.
biodiversity in the world,
Zoology
the
student, so.
waters, and the highest rate of animal discovery on the planet, with 16 new mammal species that have been discovered in the past decade.
Oh, I love
They have
animals.
everything from
The longest snake in the world.
Oh,
which is named
bison.
the largest fish in the world, whale sharks.
7 of the 8 known species
So
of giant
beautiful.
are found in the Philippines.
I love
Smallest
animals.
hoofed animal,
The reason I
Philippine
took
mouse deer.
zoology.
The national bird is the largest eagle in the world.
Economically speaking,
Eagle is my
the Philippines
favorite
is
bird, by the
considered
way.
a newly industrialized nation. It is transitioning out of becoming an agricultural-based system to a service and manufacturing.
So are we.
They have like 3 of the top 10 largest malls on Earth.
Ooh, just you wait. I'm taking the top spots.
They're one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, and as the 34th largest economy in the world, their GDP purchasing power parity has surpassed the $2 trillion mark.
Basically,
Okay,
the
I have
Philippines is definitely
goosebumps.
becoming a key power player in the world stage. It's like
4 Asian tigers.
someday. For what it's worth, though, mining, fishing, and agriculture are strong industries as well. They are currently the world's largest nickel and abaca or Manila hemp producers, and the
Oh,
second largest
okay.
coconut producer after Indonesia.
I love coconuts
Tourism,
too.
though, is another important industry, taking
Oh,
up about
so
80% of the
pretty.
GDP, employing over 3 million people.
And now,
So
food.
pretty.
Now in the
Ay.
Philippines, every region has their own specialty and culinary strain.
Sure.
Yeah, every dish looks like a fairy exploded.
Lots of dishes you can
Damn.
eat kumakain kamay, or eat with your hands.
Yeah, pretty much everything
We do
has
that too.
rice, and then you're gonna get a lot of grease and salt and vinegar, and a lot of like, I don't care if that looks like it goes there or not, I'm still gonna eat it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's Filipino food.
Yeah.
There's really no official national dish, but 3
Okay.
meals that are
Do we
well
have a
known for
national
are
dish?
adobo, lumpia, and sinigang.
Okay.
And in the non-Muslim parts, lechon is a huge deal.
There are
Oh,
also
poor.
dishes like
Tagalog steak,
tinola,
pancit lukluk,
kare-kare,
Is anything
sisig,
I can
tapsilog,
eat? I'm vegetarian, so.
and my favorite Filipino dish, palabok.
Jollibee.
With some nice little lemon juice on it. I actually got this at Jollibee. You don't know what Jollibee is?
Is it
It's
like
the
paid
most popular
promotion?
fast food chain in
Yes.
the Philippines. It's like if
I-
McDonald's and KFC adopted a Filipino baby and even added spaghetti to their menu for some reason.
Otherwise, Filipinos
Some
are dessert
reason.
experts. They love their ube everything, ube ice cream, ube bread, ube
I
pie,
love desserts.
ube cakes.
I am destined to go go there.
Cassava cakes. Those
Wow,
are the best
cakes.
desserts in my opinion.
They also have halo halo, leche flan,
They
turon,
look
buko
so
pandan,
good.
and puto. What you call me? If you're either Latin American or Spanish,
Okay.
you may notice some of those foods are also found in Latin cuisine. And there's a reason for that.
Alright.
Yeah, we'll explain that in.
Okay.
Now, only in the Philippines
Demographics.
can you find people that have Spanish names, speak English, celebrate
Okay.
Austronesian culture, and cook Chinese.
General MacArthur once said, "Give me 1,000 Filipino soldiers,
And I will conquer the world.
Yeah, for some reason, Filipinos
Oh.
are like the best friends of Asia. Filipinos still have the best
Sweet.
attitudes and smiles. They even give time
They
off
do.
felony sentences if the prisoners volunteer to take part in a Michael Jackson dance performance to the public.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, the graph. The
Okay.
country is about
Let's go.
110 million people and is the 8th most populated country in
Populated
Asia
country.
and the 12th most populated country in the
World.
world.
There are about
I think we are
175
number one
million
now.
linguistic
I'm
people
talking about
groups in the
India.
Philippines, the majority
Maybe
of whose
China is
languages are
number
Austronesian.
Of these groups, the largest ones are the Tagalog at about 28%.
Oh, yeah.
13%
Tagalog.
are Cebuano, 9%
It's
are
not Tagalog,
Ilocano,
it's
and
Tagalog.
8% are Bisaya. The rest are made up of
Cebu,
other groups,
Bisaya.
plus a
That
small minority
scans.
of non-native
Again, I'm
citizens,
sorry. I'm
mostly
sorry. I'm
Asians and
using.
Americans.
It's important to note, though, that the
Okay,
Philippines
okay,
has
Ken's
about
done.
10.2 million people
Whatever.
overseas worldwide. It is one of the largest diaspora populations, spanning over 100 countries.
Countries.
The U.S. alone has about 4 million.
I mean, they were at one point colonized by the U.S.,
Okay.
so go
okay.
figure.
I want to know about
Filipino
that
peso as the currency,
because I've
they
heard that a
use
lot.
A, B, and C plug outlets, and they drive on the
Okay.
right side of the road.
Oh, and keep in mind, the
Pinoy?
word Pinoy is synonymous with something that is Filipino. You might see
Okay.
that used a lot.
Now
Yeah,
back to the
I
ethnic
have.
groups thing. Since there are over 175 of them, you would think, how do they all communicate?
Well, the Philippines has two official languages. English, which makes them the
English.
5th most English-speaking nation on Earth, and Filipino, which is
Ooh.
the standardized version of Tagalog. The Philippine
Tagalog.
Tagalog language
Tagalog.
spoken today is very
Tagalog.
different from pure Tagalog. It actually has
Okay.
about 14% Spanish, 10% Malay, and 7% English mixed into it with a slew of other borrowed loanwords. You can see the
Ooh.
influence in words like pintelador, guapo, zapatos, and familia. Often Filipinos
Wow,
will substitute
okay.
an F with a P,
Or a B with a B.
or a V with a P.
Yeah, same with Koreans, actually.
Yeah, it's
High
good.
five with minimal consonants.
Yay!
Oh, and fun fact, Ken taught me this. In Tagalog, you can actually say an entire conversation just using the syllable ba. For
Ba.
example,
Ba, ba ba, ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba ba,
Oh,
ba
okay.
ba,
This is-
ba 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 ba
okay.
ba, ba ba,
ba, ba 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 ba.
ba ba ba.
Well, that was fun. Otherwise, in the Bisayas
This is
and
so
Mindanao
cool.
area, Cebuano is a common
Ce-
language,
Cebuano.
as well as the other regional tongues like Waray and
Cebuano.
Zamboano.
They even have the only Spanish-based Creole in Asia, Chavacano, located in Zamboanga City.
Okay,
Now, the Philippines
okay.
is unique in that over a past few centuries, they've gone through three periods that shape their identity.
Okay.
Before European intervention,
Pre,
the Philippines
post,
has had a
and
multitude of early civilizations that go
I
from
love
the
history.
Dynasty,
This is what I
the
love, history.
Namayan, the
History is
Pangasinan,
amazing.
and the Sulu Sultanate.
Many of these kingdoms had their own indigenous writing systems,
Philippine
such as the Babayan,
scripts.
Buhi, Eskaya,
Okay,
and
yes.
Kulitan.
Genetically, Filipinos are classified as belonging to the broader Austronesian people group, with the
Austronesian.
closest cousins being the Micronesians, like the Mariana Islanders, Guam, and Palau.
Although over the years, many
Okay.
people have mixed, and today it is speculated that somewhere around 1/5 or more of the population may have some kind of Chinese ancestry. After the Spanish
Okay.
came
Oh,
in, they
oh.
adopted many of the customs, traditions, and
Okay.
cultural traits which have Spanish roots. Their own country is named after Spanish King Philip. The biggest
Uh,
trait,
uh.
though, would be the fact that they are predominantly Catholic,
Okay.
and about 81% of the
Okay,
population adhere
makes
to the faith.
sense.
The rest are mostly Protestant,
Catholic.
and a small Muslim minority in the South Mindanao area.
The Philippines is the largest Christian nation in
Christian,
Asia, fifth
yeah,
largest
okay.
Christian nation on Earth, and third largest Catholic nation after Brazil and Mexico.
They have so
Okay.
many
Oh.
holidays and festivals devoted to Catholic themes, like
Yes.
All Saints Day, Holy
Holy
Week,
Week,
Easter,
Easter.
and of course, the largest one,
Christmas.
The Philippines has the longest Christmas season out of
I could
anywhere
see
else.
that from the
So now we're just
like
gonna
the
rapid
hype
fire
of
a list
Christmas.
12 fun cultural facts for the Philippines.
Filipinos have a ton
I
of
love
superstitions.
it.
For
I love
example,
this.
whistling at night will turn you into a werewolf.
For formal occasions, you may see Filipinos
Oh
wearing
my
traditional
God.
barongs for men and
Oh,
Maria Clara or mestiza dresses
beautiful.
for women.
There are
Traditional
many
clothes
other
are the
traditional
best.
costumes and customs for the other 170 ethnic groups. Too many to cover, but it goes everywhere from feathers, coconut fibers, hairdresses, tribal tattoos,
Damn.
and so on.
Speaking of which, the Philippines dominates major international
Yes,
beauty pageants
they do.
with a grand
Specifically,
total of 15 victories at the
Miss
Universe,
Universe.
Miss World, Miss International, and Miss Earth competitions.
Basketball and boxing are the most popular sport by
Basketball
far. They have the oldest
and
basketball league in Asia and the
boxing.
second oldest in the world after the United States. And come on, we all know Pacquiao.
The Philippines is the leading
I did
nation
not,
to
but now I
train
know.
and export nurses abroad. fraud. It's been said at one point, every Filipino has their should I just drop everything and become a nurse moment in their life crisis.
Really?
Fact. I've had those. And the word balikbayan means returner or returning family. It is
Okay.
used when someone comes back from
Balikbayan.
You might hear the
Balikbayan.
honorific title of
Po.
Opo,
Yes.
elders, and a lot of people often raise the backs of the hands of their elders to their forehead as a sign of respect and say, bless.
Bless.
In the Philippines, you have your name and you have
Okay.
your Pinoy nickname.
Pinoy
And they
nickname.
get really weird and creative. Pepsi, Bing Bong, Jelly Boy, Pinky, Bum Bum,
Cute.
and Earl.
Every
That's
Filipino on every island
cute.
and every region can tell you Filipinos are obsessed with karaoke. The first karaoke
Really?
machine was actually patented by a Filipino, Roberto Del Rosario.
I want to
who was
have a
Japanese
karaoke
immigrant.
machine in my house.
Obviously,
I was
that
thinking of
music's a
investing
big
in it
deal
because
to
it's
the
so much fun.
Philippines. Besides taking modern cues from American pop, they also have traditional styles. Instruments include
Yeah.
things like gudyapi, gilitang,
Okay.
gimbal, kubing, and dogali.
In addition,
Oh.
there are many different styles of dance, but the most famous one considered
All
the
right.
national dance
National
is
dance.
tinikling, a dance done between two pairs of perpendicular bamboo poles that are clapped together
Oh.
as percussion tools, and the dancers must
And-
weave their feet in and out in the space.
And they don't even look down.
Now, on a bit of a more objective
I would
side,
love
we
to
do
see
have
that.
to talk about some of the controversies.
If you can, that's my bet. Don't. That's my bet.
Their fair share of issues that have made headlines. We don't sugarcoat everything here.
Human trafficking, whether into sex industry, slavery, or organ smuggling, has been a problem in certain areas. And even though anti-trafficking acts have been passed by the government, enforcement has not always been on par.
Drug trade has also been a major inconvenience for decades, affecting millions of people in the country. This has led to the new controversial
I actually
laws
forgot,
instituted by
both of their
President
names,
Duarte,
sorry.
which encouraged the public to seek
I was just trying to remember their
bounties
names,
down
but I
drug pushers, and
forgot.
died in the process.
And finally, you have the Moro conflict, an insurgency in the
Moro
predominantly
conflict.
Muslim Mindanao region, which sought to take parts of eastern Malaysia and break away through conflict. The fight has been going on for nearly half a century, and now it's just ending at the turn of the 21st century.
Kind of.
For what it's worth, though, in the
Kind
Philippines,
of.
everyone is family at the end. You don't have to be related to anyone to call someone ate or
Ate.
kuya.
Oh,
There's
yes.
even a word,
I've experienced
bayanihan,
that.
which means something like helping one another
Bayanihan.
through community spirit, without expecting
Bayanihan.
anything in return. In any
Bayanihan.
case, we gotta finish off this segment with history.
Austrian
Yay!
Troubled
History.
kingdoms and sultanates.
This guy came to the islands.
Catholicism comes in.
Lapu-Lapu and Magellan dies in
Battle
battle.
of
Five
Mactan.
Spanish dudes followed through.
They finally become a colony of
Dudes.
Spain.
The galleon trade.
British Philippines.
And then back to Spain.
Spain.
The Treaty of Paris.
Paris.
Philippine Revolution.
The
We have more
Spanish-American
British
War.
people
First
influence.
Philippine Republic. Philippine-American War.
Do they have
American
India?
occupation.
I would
World War
love
II,
to see.
Japan invades.
American pushes them back.
Finally, Philippine independence.
Ferdinand Marcos turns from
1946.
president to dictator.
Martial law.
This guy gets killed because he was against the regime.
People Power Revolution in 1986.
Okay.
Growth from agricultural society to an industrial one.
And here we
Ohio.
are today. And now we finish off with the notable famous people condensed. Some famous people you guys
Yeah,
with
okay.
Pinoy geography suggested we mention in this episode include
Lapu-Lapu.
Jose
Lapu-Lapu.
Rizal, these two saints,
Okay.
Melchora Aquino.
Manuel
Who are
L.
they?
Quezon,
Former president,
Lacandula.
tribal
Josefa
ruler,
Yanes Escoda. And Vicente
leader,
Carlos
general,
Peña
diplomat.
Romulo.
and all the Miss Universe
Yes.
winners. And there's a ton of
Okay.
Americans with Filipino or partial Filipino
What?
descent.
Bruno Mars is Filipino. Vanessa Hudgens is Filipino.
We'll explain more on how that happened in...
Okay. I love it. Friend
Because of the long
zone.
history in the
I love
Philippines
it.
being colonized by two major Western powerhouses,
I even saw
it
someone.
would make sense
oh.
that it would have ties with the outside world. And
Enrique.
For France,
Enrique
the
is
Philippines
Filipino.
generally close
Half
with
maybe.
all the ASEAN nations. And does great
ASEAN.
business with them, particularly Indonesia and Malaysia, their closest neighbors.
the Marshall
Okay.
Islands, Palau, and the federal states of Micronesia are all cousin countries, many of
Cousin
which have
countries.
Filipino migrants in them, and they all share
alright.
the same history of being former U.S. territories
Former
and U.S.
US.
influenced states.
Of
US
course, Spain will
influence.
always be in the back of their minds as the former
Spain.
colonizer that they gained much influence from. Although Filipinos are not considered Latino, the Spanish and many Latin Americans kind of see them as like the adopted Asians that totally fit in their family. It's
Okay.
like, come on, you're Catholic, you eat flan, every fifth word you speak is Spanish, you're basically one of us.
Interestingly enough, the
That's sweet,
relationship
though.
with Mexico has historically been always strong. The Philippines
That's
was
sweet.
ruled
That's
under a
really
Mexico-based viceroyalty of New Spain. The
That's
Manila
really
galleons
nice.
were
I mean, this
Spanish
doesn't
trading
happen
ships, which
usually.
for 2.5 centuries
That's
linked
really
the
nice.
Philippines with Mexico across the Pacific Ocean, making 1 or 2 round-trip voyages per
Per
year
year.
between the ports of Acapulco and Manila. And Mexican traditions were
Acapulco,
brought in
Manila.
like the Day of the Dead and Chaparrado.
When it comes to their best friends, however, most Filipinos would probably say, even though colonial years were a little bit bumpy, ultimately the USA and South Korea.
South Korea was one of their closest best friends from the 20th century on. World War
Ooh.
II really bonded with them after the Japanese occupation years, and they
Okay.
supported each other diplomatically.
Koreans are the top #1 tourist demographic that
Never
visit
knew.
the Philippines. Koreans kind of admire the fact that even though they were both influenced by the U.S., Filipinos speak better English,
English,
whereas Filipinos
yeah.
practically obsess over Korean products and media.
K-pop. I saw Twice there.
That's why we're...
For the USA, ties were close ever since they became their colony in 1898. The US also had the
1898.
largest number of overseas Filipinos at over 4 million, most of whom live on the west coast states like Hawaii and California. They are one of the oldest Asian partners of the US. They have a mutual defense treaty, and they are the largest export partner and second largest import after China.
American pop culture dominates much of the youth influence. Hollywood studios love filming there. Gallup polls have shown the USA is favored on average by over
90%.
People asked, making it one of the most pro-American countries on the planet. And Ken, you take the conclusion.
In conclusion, if you enter a room full of Asians, you definitely know who the Filipinos are. While everyone's so uptight, we're the ones singing karaoke and somersaults. You just feel the energy of a Filipino.
Yeah,
There's a
they're
touch
very
of Latin
sweet.
flavor
I would
with American pop
they're
undertones.
very sweet.
But in the end, no matter what island, you're immediately considered
always
part
hyping.
of the Pinoy family.
Ken, one of my best friends. I love you, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Stay tuned. Poland is coming up next.
Okay. Oh, it's over. Wow. I mean, the amount of research that would go into this. This was a lot of information. I really enjoyed it. This is really good. I need to subscribe to this channel, and I need to see if they have India for the record, because even though you live here, I'm pretty sure I don't know half of the things happening here. I really enjoyed it. I would love to know the history. History is literally my favorite thing. I don't know. I love history. I think we do have a lot of things common. India has a lot of things common. I think Asians basically have a lot of things common in them. I do feel that whenever I see K-pop or I see P-pop, but when I see pop, I think it's just a whole different thing. I think so. But this was so good. I think I need to re-see this at least 3 to 4 times, so that I can understand and remember it, because once it was a lot of information to gather it and remember it. I don't know if you can remember right away. You're great. I'm not like that. But anyway, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you, Beyrries, for asking me to react to this, for recommendation for this. I love you all. And if you want me to react to any other geography now, I would be up for it. This is so interesting. This actually even increases your general knowledge, and it's basically so much fun too. This is great. They're doing such a great job. I forgot the names, but they're doing a great job. Yes, and I will see you guys next time. I love you, Beyrries. Bye.